What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking the Skeleton Crew and Creatures Commando premiere that happened this week. But before we get into all of that fun, Dave, Doug, how's it going, gentlemen?
Well, I am fan-freaking-tastic. Did you hear that little noise? I was turning on our channel. I'm sorry. Oh, I am glad. I was running a little bit late today. It's been a busy week for me, but I haven't had that much. I haven't had as much practice as I'm used to having with my bands and stuff. But I'm still busy as I was gonna say a bee, but I didn't want to say it, man. But yeah, busy.
You kind of already did.
Kind of stuck with it. So, yeah, we had these premieres of these shows. Can't wait to talk about them. I'm probably not as high on them as these two guys are. I don't think I am, just by our previous conversations. Yeah, what a shock! So we can get into it. Doug, how are you doing?
Well, Dave, let me tell you, I am outstanding. And you know what? Even though my friends gathered me earlier this week and, forced me to confront some issues that I've been dealing with, I decided, screw those guys. I'm going to do what I want. I poured another glass of blue milk. I don't have a problem. I can quit when I want.
All right.
Just like my buddy that drinks brake fluid.
He can also stop.
He can stop when he wants, yeah.
But no, yeah, so we had some TV show premieres, and it's always fun when we have something new to be able to check out and watch. And I will say that I was hesitantly looking forward to these because you never know, new stuff coming out, especially Star Wars things. It's always odd when they come up with new things because you don't quite know the direction that it's going to go in. But we'll talk about that when we actually get into the meat of our stream. So before we do that, Keith, sir, how are you?
Well, Douglas, I am tremendous. Another fantastic week. Anytime we get some new shows to watch, definitely a good time. I was a little more excited for one over the other, but I enjoyed them both. Neither one was, the Penguin great, but I think they were both enjoyable. I think they have some room to grow. They have some room to eat cereal with blue milk, and I'm looking forward to seeing these finish up. Especially, since Creature Commandos is the first entry into the DCU. It's gonna see how the direction's gonna go. Knowing James Gunn, I don't think there was any surprises on Creature Commandos being the first thing because it's kind of what he likes to write. But it was still good. But gentlemen, what should we talk first? Should we talk Skeleton Crew, or should we talk Creature Commandos? We got 2 episodes of both, so there is no wrong answer.
Since Skeleton Crew premiered first, why don't we talk about that first?
Excellent. That's what I thought you would say, and I set up the Skeleton Crew little picture to go. So let's talk Skeleton Crew. We got 2 episodes. We got This Could Be a Real Adventure and Way, Way Out Past the Barrier, which the second title doesn't make sense, so you've seen the first one. But we got an opening crawl. Since the fall of the Empire, the New Republic has maintained order. And yet, remote hyperspace routes are increasingly plagued by piracy. These pirates, all capitalized, boldly brand their armored hulls as a sign to all ships. Surrender or die.
Kind of lets you know, like, right off the bat, this might have kids, but it isn't exactly a kids show. And I'd say that right after that, as it goes into the normal Star Wars scene, you kind of go downward, you're looking into space, and normally at this point you'd see a ship, and instead we're greeted with like the pieces of a ship, debris floating through space, and then bravo to them for this opening when they had those when they had the pirate ship like slam out those like boarding tubes and everything. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of sick. All right, sweet. And I gotta, one thing that I do want to ask you two gentlemen about because I'm still going back and forth on this. I'm not totally sure how to feel, but there were a lot of references and Easter eggs just scattered throughout both of these episodes. So much, it almost felt overwhelming, the amount of references they were trying to cram in. And normally, if it's done right, I'm not bothered by it. And for the most part, it seemed like it. But like I said, it was a lot to the point where it became noticeable to me.
It was almost, and not to this level, but it was almost like the jokes in Family Guy, where they just keep coming. It was,
Yeah.
it really was like, oh wow, okay.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they're going to try to continue that throughout the series. I kind of hope not, because you're right. Because Easter eggs here and there are fun.
Fine, yeah.
They're good. But too many just seems to start sort of distracting from the plot and everything else. And I
When the
did kind of-
pirates are coming onto the ship, like immediately, like they're not even attempting to hide it. It's like directly like the beginning of A New Hope.
Yeah.
You've got the the stormtroopers barging in, shooting people. You've got the scene where, in this case it was a pirate captain. In A New Hope, you've got Darth Vader. Both cases are holding up the dude by his neck, and it's like I was waiting for someone to, put information into a droid and then get stunned. I was like, is that what's going to happen next? Like,
Hey, the Wolfman was pretty damn cool. Come on.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. That was fantastic.
wait, he's what kind of right?
Absolutely right.
And there's a lot that I do like about this show.
Yeah.
I think the pace of the show is really good. I think the
Starting off
kids
your
are fine.
episode with violence is always a plus in my book.
We saw what looked to be like a simulation of the Elephant Kid getting cut in half during a lightsaber battle, and I was
not
like,
call that.
I like rewound it and said, "Oh my God, Doug must have seen a preview of the show."
I didn't, but as soon as I saw that scene, I'm like, man, I cannot wait to tell those guys I got one right. Kind of. Oh man.
And it was cool. A lot of people were very upset about how this world looked a lot like ours. It had like little subdivisions with like lawns.
I'm
and
okay
stuff
with
and-
that.
But I was
I'm not bothered by the fact that this is our first Star Wars subdivision, our first Star Wars friggin' what do you call it? Not major city, not a desert planet. It was just a suburb.
Well,
We've
you know
never
what
seen
that-
that before.
You know what I thought that was like? There in every way. I know it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but they're so much more technically advanced than we are, and they still chose to have that type of transportation. That's what I was thinking.
I was just shocked at how robots seem to run everything.
Yeah, what is with those camera face robots?
They're
They are
definitely RoboCops.
well, and I think we got a little explanation on it, like when they finally escaped out of the barrier, and they were like, Adin, that's like fiction. That's not true. That's not a real. Where are you really from?" And then I'm like, okay, what's really going on that planet?
Right? Okay. Do you know the first giveaway that I knew something was up? And it wasn't the fact that this is a weird suburb and it's the first time that we've seen that in Star Wars. No. It was when that boy poured that abomination of milk on his cereal. That wasn't blue milk. That was like green sludge milk. That was the stuff that Luke drank out of the space cow in Dave's favorite movie. That was that was some weird nonsense. I was already like, okay, something weird, and it don't look good. Who you gonna call? Keith and Dave, obviously.
Well, and just the way it was almost like Stepford Wife-esque. Like, oh, kids, we have to, take our assessment test so we know what job you're going to do for the great chore or whatever.
analyst.
And I'm like, what is going on with this planet? And them being, apart from everybody else kind of makes a little more sense. And I hope we get into the backstory of what happened there and how this all came to be, because they've done a good job of setting it up like this planet is not like the others. They definitely do their own things. They almost feel like, they're a remnant of the old Republic, the High Republic.
I was thinking Empire, honestly. I was getting serious Empire vibes because it seemed like they were trying to create this whole cookie cutter atmosphere. Everybody has a place, and then when that one mom who was visiting the class, when she uttered that line, "the great work."
Yeah. Yes.
All right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. You're saying that you're doing this for the New Republic? I don't buy it.
There was in the High Republic a great works type thing, and that's
okay.
Like with the credits they had, and it almost, the more we hear, it seems like they are still stuck in the High Republic era. Like whenever this barrier went up that kept them sectioned off from everybody else, I was like, okay, they're still stuck. It's almost like it reminded me of how Fallout is, how they kind of had the bombs drop and they're still stuck in the 50s. Like the rest of the galaxy has moved on and they are still stuck in this era with the great works and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh wow, this is weird. And I hope it is as weird as I feel like it is right now when we find out what's going on, because it seems so wholesome and good. And I don't think it's going to end up that way, because it's just too, I don't even know the right word, but
uncanny is how I felt.
Yeah, I think that's good. It's strange, and
it is.
And unfortunately, it's already been spoiled that they're coming back. They're coming back to their planet.
Yeah,
we've seen them with their parents again, but I think that's okay too, because we've seen in the trailer too, like that treasure room, and in our Theory Palooza, I was saying this ship probably has the maps to a treasure that everybody wants, and I was kind of right. I just didn't know it was the planet that it was landed on that everyone's going to be looking for. And they've been
that's what they meant by a different galaxy. Well, like we were talking about in our Theory Palooza, that's what they meant. And that in a different galaxy, apparently. It's and no one knows about it. It's a mythical place to them. So it's somewhere that's like hidden from plain view, I guess.
I think a lot of it has to do with that barrier that seems to be over it. I don't think anyone thinks anything or anyone is alive on that planet. It clearly sounds like communications can't seem to get through. They didn't even know what stars looked like.
Yeah, they didn't know what they were. What are those?
The worst character on that show was the dad, though. The dad seemed... Could the dad possibly be a robot? And just the way that everything out of his mouth was the exact cliche 80s father would say.
Dave, he's a bureaucrat. They're basically robots to me.
Yeah, okay, Rick.
But I think that's true. I think his character is so susceptible to, the propaganda at and that he just buys it fully. He's fully invested. He has no critical thinking ability to be like, wait, what am I doing? Like, I felt so bad for Wim when he he walks by Neil's house and they're all playing together, and
a happy
he goes
family
home to just himself. And it was like, man, that's kind of depressing. And the dad doesn't even realize it.
It almost feels like Wim's dad, like he feels like his son is more of a burden that he's been tasked with. Like, he didn't ask for a kid. He was busy focusing on his career and everything like that. And now he's got to worry about raising a kid that he never really wanted, because he's like, Dad, will you read me a story? What? No, go to bed. Aren't you too old for stories anyway? Here's some money. Take your lunch on your own.
And he had to mention the assessment on his way out of the room. He always... I was like, okay, enough. All right, I get it, Dad.
It makes me...
You don't have to mention it in every conversation.
Makes me think like there is some dark things going on this planet. Like, it's almost like... I hate to say this, like under the emperor's thumb, and they were doing things for, you know, part of his plan outside of the scope of everybody else. They just haven't realized that the emperor's dead yet, and are just going about their business. I think there's going to be, like, as much as Adin seems like this paradise, man, we are going to find out that it is nothing like that at all. And there's, you know, either there's like a Sith in control, or it's something along the lines of the Emperor is working this, you know, great order. What did they call it again?
The Great Work.
Yeah, the great work, to do something for him, like build another super weapon or something. It's
Moff Gideon.
The reason why I think
Goff
that
Midian.
this is
Goff Midian, of course. Right,
The
he was
reason
right
why-
out of the manga, right? Well, didn't right out of the manga.
the reason why I feel like this has got to be a you know, some sort of Empire program is it seems like that's what Dave Filoni feels like he needs to do with all of these Star Wars live action projects that are all fit around this era, right? You've got The Mandalorian, you've got Ahsoka, you've got all these other shows, and they seem to be telling the in-between story of how the New Republic was failing, how the First Order came to power, how somehow Palpatine returned. Like, he's trying to... It's almost like he cannot let this go. Like, somebody needs to explain it. This is my mission. This is my goal. And so I'm pretty much convinced that anything weird or strange that gives off a bad vibe, it's got to be the Empire in some way.
Yep. Because you almost see, you know, the kid when Wim was like, "Oh, what do you want to do with your life?" or whatever, and he's like, "I want to help people." And it's like, "Oh my God, you said you want to be a Jedi. You can't do that." And I'm like, okay, they're totally sort of getting these kids sort of brainwashed, and definitely a lot of the adults, to be like, the Jedi are bad. You know, they don't help people. They do it subtly enough and don't call them out and say they're evil Jedi, or, you know, they turned on the Republic or whatever. But there doesn't seem to be a good association to the Jedi. Even
Also,
though,
you know, at the end of Return of the Jedi, you know, everyone was supposed to think that Jedi were extinct. You know, that's what everyone was thinking at the end there. And this is only 5 years after that. So, yeah, if you say Adin is kind of still stuck in time, they would still know about the Jedi. You know?
Yeah, and he's got like that little story pad thing, which Disney is going to have to sell this thing because it's really friggin' cool, and I kind of want one for myself.
There you go, Disney. We got your product ideas right there.
I kind of want that cool little story toy.
we need our Neil plushie, and we need our storyboard thingy. But you're right, Dave.
Yeah.
It's almost like, because him saying, "Oh, you know, the Jedi temples could go underground," and if you did the Arabesh on all the things he was looking at, it basically talks about how Jedi temples could, you know, go underground to protect themselves and be brought up when needed, which totally gave me Rebel vibes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was thinking about that with Kanan and Ezra.
Yep. And I was like, okay, they're hinting enough at some of the cool things, but him knowing that, then of course when he said there's a Jedi temple in the woods, and his dad was like, "Stop fooling around, young man. This isn't funny." And then of course the girl's like, "Oh, what'd you say about a Jedi temple?" And he's like,
Right.
"Nothing. What are you talking about?" Which of course,
Did you get Princess Leia vibes from that girl?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for. Again, everything seems like I'm not trying to knock it too much, but it does seem like everything they did was in some way a throwback to something else in Star Wars.
They really paid a lot of homage to other stories in Star Wars, which I hope
That's an understatement.
is only how it starts. Like, we kind of get away from that to finish up, because it's not. It's good.
Yeah.
It could be a lot better if it tells its own story instead of tries to rehash. A lot like The Force Awakens. Force Awakens is good, but it was way too similar to A New Hope to really be great. It was held back because it was telling a story we've already heard in that universe, pretty much. And this is almost suffering from that same thing. And I hope, you know, we got 6 episodes left, and there's a lot of room to get away from that and do its own thing. And I hope they do, because if they don't, it's going to really hurt this show. and it's got potential to be very entertaining, very kid friendly, a lot kind of like I don't want to say kid friendly, even though there's kids in it. It's more family friendly,
more whimsical and fun.
Yes.
And you know what? I'll give them this. While the kids did kind of annoy me in a couple of occasions, they were still, I think, better actors than the two young girls from The Acolyte.
I agree.
I know that's not saying much, but still, it was. And here's the thing: like as far as like the kids being annoying, they were annoying as far as kids go. They were just being kids, so I can't really fault the directors and the writers for that. They made the conscious choice to have the kids act like kids. One boy's playing with his action figures. They're acting out Jedi Sith fight and pretending and using their imagination. They're lying to each other relentlessly, teasing each other. So it's like, yeah, I buy it. They're acting like children would. So okay.
You know what I think is going to happen with that is like that's how they act at the beginning, and they're emphasizing that. Once they go through whatever ordeal they're going to go
they're going to
through,
have to grow up quick.
Yeah, they're matured.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see that.
And I think it's probably going to happen when one of them either is injured or captured.
Or the elephant boy gets cut in half.
Again.
Well, we already know that's going to happen. So they pretty much telegraphed it in the first episode, so we wouldn't be too surprised when it happens for real in episode 4 or 5.
Well, and we did get in episode 2, SM-33, who was the droid on that thing once it took off, sounding very piratey and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was laughing. I'm like, oh my God, they're really digging into this whole pirate thing. And as soon as he said, oh, I know a port we could go to, I'm like,
okay.
It's totally the pirate gang.
You've got one eye.
The very first scene, yeah. He's got like an animal living in there.
Right, exactly. I was thinking that too.
You know what's funny is when they had that opening scene, when they crashed into the other, and came across into their vessel, I got not only A New Hope vibes, but I got like Guardians of the Galaxy vibes.
I was kind of feeling a little bit of that too.
See, you know what I got? Star Trek Into Darkness vibes.
That's the one where they were on the planet that hadn't really fully developed yet?
No, that was Star Trek Beyond.
Oh, okay.
Star Trek Into Darkness was the Khan. But, I mean, and please tell me, and I know he is, that Jod is not the pirate general that failed them on the very first mission.
He probably is. I'm pretty positive it is, because most of the people that we saw on that port were like the werewolf guy, Urkel's character. I'm just going to refer to him as Urkel throughout this the entire time we're reviewing this. But
that's
like
his name,
a lot
so
of them, they're all. Yeah, it is. But like a lot of them were the same characters that were on that ship in the opening scene. So I would reckon to believe that they probably voted out their old captain and had him walk the plank into a cell. Also, very Pirates of the Caribbean vibes.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like him that much because he was force sensitive.
I don't think they know. That's my little mini theory of this. I think he keeps it hidden. Because I feel like if he used the Force and they knew that he did, he would have used it to defend himself against them.
Well, he only uses it in front of the kids.
They're kids. Who's going to believe that?
I was going to say he did it because what is the quickest way to have a kid like that trust you? Make them think you're a Jedi.
He never said yes.
He never did. So, I hope there's a twist to it. I really hope it's not as obvious as what it seems to be, that, he only got one credit taking over that ship when it was supposed to be full, and they discarded him, and now he's helping these kids. But, I mean, I could see, obviously, if he's like, if I can get the treasure at Aden, I will come back into my power, and I can take, what is his name? Where did I write it down? Brutus is the werewolf guy.
Yeah.
And take back control from him. No, that's
Mhm.
probably, if he is the old pirate captain, that's probably his goal, and he thinks if he can find this treasure, which obviously some pirates found the planet because that ship was there.
Clearly,
And
yeah.
so if he can take them to that treasure, which I don't think that treasure is going to be what they think it is. It's going to be like, dark droids or, something along those.
Palpatine clones or something.
Yeah. Force sensitive Ewoks. Something along
Luke's
those lines.
hand floating in the jar
Yes.
to make
It's funny that his name is
Luke.
Brutus. That's really weird. That made me think. You know what that made me think of?
What?
Brute, the cereal.
Yeah,
He kind of looks like him. And he's got,
do you think he also has a weakness against silver, or I suppose in Star Wars it's going to be a Beskar?
a silver lightsaber?
Your lightsaber can't hurt me. Yes, but this Beskar can. No.
You guys, he's not a werewolf. He's just a humanoid wolf creature. Come on. You're being crazy now.
Oh, I think I saw someone like that was in Rebel Moon. What was his name?
Oh, dear God. Why are you referencing that? Nobody knows his name, Dave. You know this.
I'm pretty sure I proved that.
Yeah, Blood Axe.
I had you guys convinced that Tim is a character in Rebel Moon.
I was so mad. I'm like, they stole Tim from Andor. Which you all caught the Andor Easter egg, right?
Oh yeah.
When he's like, oh,
I saw him for you at the end.
when he's like Adin, and he's like Eldonde, or what was the name of the planet where they did the big robbery?
Eldonde, or oh my God,
Yankee Doodle Dandy.
It's like not Alderaan. God, get that out of my head. But they referenced the planet that was the heist in Andor, and now I can't remember.
Eldonde.
Eldonde, yes.
Yeah,
They reference that because they're like, Adin, that's not true. Is it Eldonde?
Well, Andor is only 40 years before what we're watching.
No, it's only 10.
Like, yeah, maybe about 10, because it happens like almost just before A New Hope. It's like maybe 5 years before A New Hope.
Well, yeah, it's 5 years up until right up until the end,
Yeah.
the start of Rogue One. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's not that far behind it.
In Rogue One, that was like a weekend.
Still ancient to a child, though.
Oh, definitely.
No, yeah. But no, going back to what you were saying, Dave, about the fact that these kids know who Jedi are. I do like that, how Star Wars is. They're not always great about it, and I don't think a lot of Star Wars fans fully appreciate this. But they're constantly reminding you how large this galaxy is that is far, far away. The fact that some people are kind of aware of the Jedi. A lot of them probably have never seen one. They think they've heard stories, but to a lot of these people, especially like in the Outer Rim, they're probably legends, or there might just be stories about them. Who knows if they're real? Who knows when they actually died out? So anybody who was on any of the core worlds that were constantly embroiled in war during the Clone Wars, they would be more aware of the Jedi. But a lot of the other people out there, like, I think I might have heard the legend of this Luke guy. I don't know if he was even real or not. I think there were stories about him.
Well, you'd think they'd know him on Tatooine.
Well,
and Tatooine was on the Outer Rim.
They might know him specifically, but they may not be able to put two and two together that that's the Luke who was a Jedi. They might know of him as, oh, that's that whiny shit that's always in here buying power converters, saying
God,
that he can, that he's a great racer.
If he comes into Tassi Station again to get those darn power converters, and he, of course,
By
the
the way, did you
power
hear that
converter's
mention?
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Come
a
on,
lot of power converters.
it's like, okay, that one was right on the nose. You didn't even try.
Now, why is power converters so popular with the kids? What are they going to do with them?
The joke a while back, like a long time ago, was that it was like the name of a drink or something, and that Luke was going to go hang out with his friends at the bar, and he was going to go buy, some alcohol called power converters. But then that stupid animated show, Resistance, I think was what it was called.
One you didn't like? Yeah, Resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically clarify that a power converter is a piece of machinery, and ruined it.
It would have been a
So
lot better if
just
those kids were looking for power converters at their age on this
Right.
very, orderly planet. Can you make
I was looking for power
come on,
converters
let's
at
go
that
get some
age.
power
So,
converters.
Wim, he's home alone a lot. We can make power converters in his toilet, and his dad would never know.
Why would you want power converters when I got death sticks?
his dad's never there to watch him.
Right? Here's an amount of money. I don't know. Is this 100 gold pieces? Is that enough for lunch for a child?
I can't believe this kid's acting up. I leave him by himself all the time, and he just does not do as he's supposed to do. What is going on?
Crazy, this kid.
That is crazy.
I did like the pirate hub too. The fact
Yeah.
that you kind of joked about, oh, here's like 100 gold pieces or whatever. That's good for lunch, right? He gave that little thing the one like gold Old Republic credit, and it like took off like, I'm done working. I'm rich. I don't need to work anymore. And that should have been the first clue to these kids that he should really not be breaking out these credits in front of people. But they're kids, so they don't know. And then he's at the food place, and they're like, oh, where did you
Yeah.
get this Old Republic credit? And that's where all of the pirates kind of
Yep.
get involved in all of this. And
He also doesn't have much of a concept of how, like exchange rate and currency, because he's like, is this enough? And of course, they're friggin' pirates. They're not going to be honest. And they're like, oh, no, actually, it's going to be a lot more than that. How many more do you have?
I'm gonna need them all. Thank you.
Right.
the plot for all of this was fine. It showed,
Yeah. Fine is a
all
good
the
word.
things it needed to show. No big plot holes. It makes sense for everything that's happening, but it isn't anything that like is extraordinary. And as much as I enjoyed it, and I say enjoyed it in the sense that it wasn't bad, but it really needs to do something in these next couple episodes to really take it and make it great. They have potential with what they're doing, but
Yes.
they seem so dulled with, like we talked about, the Easter eggs, referencing something from Star Wars every possible second, kind of sort of making these characters so one-dimensional at this point. A lot of the outside of the main characters, seems like everybody is just one-dimensional, and
Yeah.
they have room to build on that. But this first couple episodes were just, here's our main characters, they're going to be this and that, and everyone around them is going to be paper thin, and only to kind of move the plot forward and make sense with where things are going, and this and that. And the kid having a little story time thing talking about Jedi temples, so he's going to mistake this ship to be a Jedi temple. He's going to push that button and all those things. While it's executed okay and fine, it's really not great. And I want it to be great. And I think it has the possibility to improve each week and get better and better. And I hope they just kind of started it off this way so Star Wars fans would be comfortable with watching it.
I hope that's all it was.
I gotta feel like we've definitely taken a step up the Acolyte.
Oh,
Thank God.
yeah, yeah.
And I think so far, I think Ahsoka was better, and I think that was the last live action show of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's like in between for me. I don't want to get right to my rating or anything because I feel like if I preach, I'm going to be rating it. But it's like I predicted I think our last show that it would be like Stranger Things type of thing, and I think it's lower than that. I think they set the bar a little bit lower. It's just there's to me there's like no adult, like Keith was saying, all the other characters are paper thin. It makes it harder for me. And then I think maybe, is this written from a child's perspective? Is this why they're paper thin? Because we're viewing it from the eyes of a child, and that's what he sees. Like, that's why his dad is always like, you study, you need to study, you need to be good. You seeing it from his perspective, and that's all he sees.
I think personally it could be a mix of both. I think, yes, we are seeing through the perspective of a child, but at the same time, I think that truly is the characterizations of these people. They all seem very much like they're almost robotic in the way that they do things and their purpose and their mission. Like they know who they are, what they're there for, what they're supposed to do, and their only goal is to be an analyst or a banker or an accountant or some other stupid boring job for the great whatever it's called.
The great works.
The great works. Like that seems to be their only thing. So I think they're paper thin more so partially because it is through the eyes of a child, maybe, but I think more so I think that's just what they're all supposed to be like. Like even that one girl's mother, she seemed more focused and more pleased that her daughter won that patch, got an award for being the smartest student than anything else.
And I think we could find out, like, if the kids come back, we kind of talked about them maturing through their adventures. When they get back to the planet, if we see them seeing their parents in a different light and maybe a little more, a little more nuance to them and things like that, it may be. But I can see it going either way. Either it's told by it's the child's perspective and seeing their parents that way. And I think every kid kind of sees their parents kind of very one-dimensional person. Do your chores, do right, blah, blah, blah. Or it could just be, you're right, it's kind of like the Stepford wife things. Like these people have been programmed their whole lives to, this is how you act, you do the great works, you do this, you get your kids to do it, we're all in this big thing together. So it'll be interesting
generation after generation, and somehow Palpatine will return.
They're all part of that.
Can't stop that. Worst line in Star Wars history, is that it, or is there another one?
The power of one.
Or of one, the power of many.
Oh, yeah. Or how about, they fly now? They
fly now. God. Or how about, I'm the spy. Oh, you're not.
These are all good. None of them, they don't have the staying power. Nothing they say anymore has the staying power of, hello there, or I have a bad feeling about this.
Hopefully one day.
And I'm surprised they haven't said it yet.
Oh, they will.
Oh, yeah, it's coming. It is definitely coming.
That was my theory from...
Space.
What's that?
You would think when they got shot off into space that they would say it then.
I think they were too busy pissing themselves because this is their first time breaking the barrier, and also, I mean, immediately going into hyperspace, like and you first off, you just found out what a star is, and now this is happening. I mean, honestly, the first thing that they should have been buying with that with their gold pieces is, hey, we need some new pants. Ours are full of shit for some reason.
Gar just pooped our pants. It's like Rod Stewart on South Park. Oh, poop my pants.
I just hope in the next few episodes we find out that Jod cuts Neil in half. And it all comes full circle back to Earth. No, I'm just kidding. I hope there's a twist of some type with that character, and as much as they're trying to push that he was the former pirate captain, that we're going to find out that there's something else going on. I don't know what that could be. Like, could he be a Sith? Deeper. A Sith in hiding, like a former Jedi who was, chased and wanted to be an inquisitor of some type, so he joined the pirate group to get away from them. And
so I'm going to guess one of two things. My theory about him is he's either an undiscovered Force user. He may have been born around the time of the fall of the Republic, rise of the Empire, So, he might have been one of those kids that was kept hidden. Nobody found out that he was a Force user. Or, or when he was young, he joined as a Padawan but failed out of Jedi school.
Oh yeah.
Because while he can move things, make them float, I think that my guess, I'm going to go down a limb. I don't think he's practiced. I don't think he's well versed enough to use the Force. I think he would be a better pirate if he had better control of his Force powers.
I like that one.
Sounds like the girl on the Acolyte. What was her name?
Osha.
Oh yeah.
Osha.
Oh my God. How did I forget that name? Yeah.
I only
Osha. What was
remember
the
it.
other girl's name?
But yeah, it's like, she tried, she failed out. Yeah.
I don't think everybody in Star Wars has to have been a Jedi or been a Sith. I think there's probably enough people who were born with the Force that either were never discovered by the Jedi or the Sith and were never picked up and just kind of grew up kind of like understanding, hey, I'm really friendly with animals. Also, I can move things sometimes.
My M count's so high, baby.
My M count. God.
But you're right. It could be one of two things. I like the kind of thought that he had some training, but he wasn't really strong enough to become a Jedi Knight. So
And maybe he had attachments that he couldn't let go.
Yep. Or, for those of you who have played the Jedi Fallen Order game, Cal Kestis finds a holocron that has all of the Force-sensitive kids around the galaxy that he ends up destroying because he doesn't want it to fall into like the Emperor's hands.
Right.
So he could be one of those, because that's far enough. Well, actually, he's probably a little older than that because this happened after, like 5 years after the fall of the Empire, which would have been 25, 20. So he's probably a little too old to be that. But he's obviously Force sensitive, or he did some trick to get the. He has an invisible friend who brought him. No, I'm just kidding.
He's Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis. That's who he is.
Speaking of that, did you guys see that they have been hinting that the second and third seasons of The Acolyte were going to delve more into Darth Plagueis and, there was so much cool stuff that was going to happen, and you guys got it canceled.
Sure. And no, us guys did not get it canceled. You got your own show canceled because it was incoherent nonsense.
And, like, TV Guide or someone else said The Acolyte getting canceled was one of the biggest tragedies of 2024.
Excuse me?
And that the episode 5...
That's some woke BS right there.
And, like, episode 5 was one of the 25 greatest episodes of television in 2024.
Oh, that was a good episode, right? That was the one
Yeah.
where that was the best episode of the series. But that's it.
But the overall... Okay. That's like saying if the only good episode of Penguin was the one where Sophia gassed her entire family, and then the rest of them were garbage, and people were still saying that it was an amazing show because of that one episode. Like, you can't judge an entire series and say that the whole thing is good because it has one good episode. I'm sorry.
No, I agree 100%, and I was shocked at this place saying that. I'm like,
Yeah.
and people were retweeting it saying, "Oh, we were all robbed of it." I'm like, I will never watch The Acolyte again.
No,
Man,
God, I have no interest in it.
If they attempted to tell that story, it would be so bad. The way they had told their story for this season, I don't have any faith that they could have told the Darth Plagueis story. No way.
I'm with you. They would have. Now, if we get new showrunners and they want to continue that story in the High Republic area at some point, I'm fine with that. But man, we do not need another season of The Acolyte at all.
No.
But we may need more seasons of the Skeleton Crew.
I wouldn't be mad. Well, if it gets better, I wouldn't be mad at that. But,
Well, what
so
excites
far,
me about it is that they said it was a self-contained story, right? That's what I like about it. They do leave it open for a sequel, okay. But, the original Star Wars wasn't written, A New Hope wasn't written to have sequels. They just kind of, it was so big that they went on with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dude, have you seen the comic that was released about maybe 8 years ago or so? And it was George Lucas's original script of uh, Luke Starkiller and the Force of the Wills or something. I think it was his original title.
How many issues?
Oh, it was just a giant graphic novel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never saw it.
I got a copy of it for my cousin. He's super into Star Wars too. But yeah, it was. I read through a bit of it. It can be hard to follow sometimes because it was written by George Lucas, so it has a lot of his shortcomings. But yeah, it's got like his
bad
original
dialogue.
idea of the fact that Darth Vader was, just a dude, an evil dude. The stormtroopers all carry lightsabers because it was just a very normal weapon. It wasn't just for the Jedi.
oh
Um,
jeez.
Luke Starkiller lives on Tatooine with his father and sister, and it seems his sister is like the main character. Like he's more of like a whiny little shit sidekick.
His sister Leia?
No, she had like a different name altogether. I want to say that I think it was
Her name was
Tony
Ocean.
Kane.
was it? Oh no! Oh my gosh, no! It was one of the names that we ended up hearing from like in one of the future movies because George Lucas did reuse it somewhere. I just don't remember what it was. It wasn't Padme. It was something else.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, that'd be funny. And my beautiful sister, Jar Jar. She's so precocious.
They call her Jar Jar because she was a twin. Get it? Jar Jar. But you know what? Her twin didn't make it.
Let's see. I don't see anyone cashing
I'll get
in
back on the
a
roof.
dad joke. I don't know what's going on here right now. It's
What is that text that showed up on the screen? I don't see anything in the Twitch chat. But what is this? Connect your Twitch account and receive Mentext channel, which display easy instructions. What is that?
Where are you seeing that?
Take a look at Twitch. Take a look at at the screen under our logo.
Oh, I don't know where that came from. It's not our
Yeah,
Twitch.
neither do I. I don't know where it came from either. It's weird. Unless it was like somebody submitted it through the chat, but it was like caught as spam, but it still
Oh.
made it on here or something.
Yeah, maybe that's.
I don't know.
Crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
But
So
the second episode
Go ahead.
does end kind of on a little cliffhanger. Obviously, he
Yeah.
grabs the key and he says, take me with you and I'll help you get off or whatever. And you know,
Gross.
seriously gross.
Dave. Jesus.
Sorry, he offers to help them in exchange that he go with them. Is that better?
Oh, there we go.
Where's Sierra when we need her to like put you in jail?
Yeah, she's needed this this stream. But once again, both episodes kind of ended like a television show.
Yeah.
It had first episode they were blasting off into space. Second episode, hey, I just got the key using these mystical powers. I'll escape, but you got to take me with you. All that stuff. So
It seems like they finally figured out how to make a TV show.
it's not just a 4-hour movie that they're punching into 8 different episodes. So that it's got that going for it. But do you think we should rate these
I
episodes?
think we should. I think we've talked enough about the plot that we could rate it.
Yeah. Okay. For the reasons described earlier, just the flat characters. I really wanted this to. I wanted this to be over my expectations. I didn't expect much after the Acolyte, but I did expect for it to kind of be on the Ahsoka level with the amount of hype that it was getting, and it was different. And yeah, I wish it had a little bit more of the Stranger Things vibe that I was looking for.
Mhm.
Like I said, it landed just below that for me. There were moments where I was doing this, so that I think if I do that, I can't give it a 7. I can't go that high if I'm looking at my phone. But they were entertaining shows. I hope it leads somewhere. I hope this is just a setup to something bigger, and we've got deeper plot lines coming up. So for the first 2 episodes, I think I'm going to give them a 6.5.
You know, it's funny that you mention that, Dave, because while I do think that I enjoyed these episodes, I also did have a couple of, obviously noticeable issues with it. I'm hoping that eventually this series gains an identity for itself. I'd really love to see it kind of become its own thing rather than feeling that it's got to have this burden of, having all of these Star Wars references or being able to bridge the gap between the trilogies or whatever. Like, I assume that's just, what a lot of these live action shows are doing, whether it's self-contained or not. It seems like that's always what they're trying to do. They're there to bridge the gap or to fill in unanswered questions. But it seems like they're overloading it with a lot of like the too many references, too many things like that. And um, while I will give it this, on a plus side, I'm actually interested in one of the mysteries. Weirdly enough, probably not the one that they want me to be. Like, I'm sure they're pushing the whole, who's the pirate captain? What's the deal with his Jedi powers? And that's interesting in a way, but I'm very curious about the mystery of the planet at Eden that they come from. I want to know what the deal is with all the people there. Why do they act so weird? Why are they so obsessed with such boring jobs? Why are they saying that they're doing this for the New Republic, but it does not feel like they're a New Republic planet? What is the deal with the fact that nobody seems to realize it exists? Why does it have this barrier and clearly a bunch of like red satellites around it in the sky? And especially what's the deal with like the Big Brother camera robots? Like super weird. The fact they look legitimately just like security cameras for heads. And so I'm very invested in that mystery, less so than like the rest of the show. The show's fine so far. It's okay. It's not bad. Um, but yeah, I was a little irritated by the amount of Easter eggs. The kid actors being kids, I'm not going to knock them for that because they're doing what they're supposed to. I just found them a little cringy and irritating. Um, so for those reasons, I'm going to also give these first 2 episodes a 6.5. I think it has a lot of potential. Keith mentioned that earlier, that it should have a lot of potential, and I think it does. I think it might end up getting better. I just think it needed to get its footing and get off the ground running. Um, but yeah, for now it was fine, better than the Acolyte.
Yeah, if the bar is the Acolyte, it definitely did
Yeah.
its job. And, like we all talked about, the fact that the parents were just very one dimensional. And even for me, the score and the soundtrack, like, didn't feel Star Warsy to me. And
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
it may grow on me, but it was kind of like when they were playing music, I was kind of like, okay, that's
It was
doesn't
annoying.
seem like Star Wars to me. And yeah, it kind of took me out of it a little bit. The constant Easter eggs, the kid, like you said, the kid actors, they were fine. They weren't anything special.
Hmm.
The plot for the 2 episodes was fine. It got us from point A to point B. It had some things
Yeah.
going on. I do think, like Doug, I do want to know more. Well, unlike Doug, I want to know a little bit more about Jod's character. I'm kind of interested to see, what he actually is. Is he the pirate captain? If he was, how did he get involved? I'm hoping it's not just, I'm a disposed pirate captain. I'm hoping there's more story to it and a bigger twist and maybe opening up to something bigger. And that whole planet, the fact that there's the barrier, they seem to be completely away from anyone else in the galaxy. They're stuck. And they don't say the New Republic, they say the Republic. Like, they don't even know that there was an empire. They've been behind this barrier for longer than, since before the Emperor took over and made it the Galactic Empire. That's what it seems like to me. So, stuff like that, I'm like, okay, I want to learn more about that. So they got me there. But, I mean, overall, I don't even want to call it good. It's approaching good. Like, it should get there. I do think it has, like we talked about, the potential to get much better. Build off kind of what we got in those first 2 episodes and, keep building on it, make it continue down a certain path, surprise us, do some unique things, make it something that's worth watching again. But, right now, I was same as Dave. I'm like, I can't give it a 7, but I'm going to give it a 6.9 because it's funny, I sound very negative about this show, but while I was watching it, I did enjoy it for the most part. But then it's like, after I watched it, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, God, the two parents we saw on the planet were just terrible parents. Why did they act that way? And it kind of, the more I thought about it, the more down I got on it. But I do think there are probably reasons why they're that way. And, talking about the great works and all that. I'm hoping that's what it is. And we hear some, good explanation. Because they've done a good job with the plot of, like the girl showing up there because he mentioned it to his dad in front of her. And, they're not just, well, heck, we were just walking this way and saw you. That's how we found it too. So they're doing a fairly decent job of getting it up. And it makes sense, finding out that this was an old pirate ship and the planet they're from is supposedly have this great treasure. It would make sense. Pirates want to get to it. So it's fine, approaching good, and I hope it continues down that path.
Fine, yeah.
I don't know if anyone out in the comments wants to let us know what they think. I mean, what would you rate this on the Doug scale between 1 and 10? Please let us know if you want. You don't have to, though. You guys be you. But,
Oh, no, they have to.
Yes.
I'm going to go find them if they don't.
By the way, I do want to mention something because, Keith, you caught this and it went right over my head. I didn't realize that when that undersecretary was talking to the kids that she'd referred to it as the Republic. I did not catch that my first watch through. And all of a sudden it's dawning on me, I'm like, you're right. They never called it the New Republic. They might actually be stuck in time. They might not even know about the struggles. Hell, maybe I'm way off. Maybe they aren't, there for the Empire. Maybe they truly don't even realize the Republic fell.
Actually, what we're going to find out, OSHA has actually taken over this planet as part of her plan from the High Republic era.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
How old is she then?
200. Well, she died hundreds of years ago, but it's still, her plan is still underway.
See, what had happened was she was actually a prototype Grievous. So you're gonna see OSHA with a bunch of droid parts and.
Well, once again, you keep doing that great Grievous impression, and we're getting a new channel points going, dude.
Oh my God, my throat would be destroyed.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that happening.
General Kenobi.
Like you don't talk enough at work, at your day job.
Exactly.
Yeah. But okay, are you gentlemen ready to talk about the Creature Commandos premiere?
The Creature Commandos premiere?
I don't know if there's a the.
Commandos? But hey, we got 2 episodes of the Creature Commandos, the Collywobbles and the Tourmaline Necklace.
What is with the whole 2-episode release thing?
I don't know.
I don't know, but they did use both of those titles within the shows that they were on.
Yes, they did.
He said it. He said it. That's what I said when I did that.
That's the thing.
The Collywobbles. Oh, he said it. He said it.
I've been waiting all episode for that. And honestly, for the Creature Commandos, I think it needed 2 episodes because a lot of the first episode was just kind of, it gave us a lot of, hey, guess what was canon from the old DCEU?
Yeah.
Kind of walking us through that. And then obviously we needed to be introduced to these characters because I don't think a lot of people know who the Bride, Dr. Phosphorus, G.I. Robot, the Weasel, and Nina Missouri are.
Mm-hmm.
So, they kind of did
Don't
that.
forget Frankenstein.
True, but he wasn't the first episode, but he wasn't part of, Task Force M, as they're calling it, or Creature Commandos. But I mean, it was paced well. You know, they kind of walked through it. It's great hearing what's her name talk as Amanda Waller as a cartoon. You know, I think I'm going to enjoy that about the DCU. That the people who do the live action also do the, voices for the animation.
I'm going to enjoy it to a point until they have to figure out how they're going to get somebody who looks good on screen still perform the task of a voice actor. We've had this discussion before how there is a certain art to being a voice actor. And while you might not be the prettiest looking person, if you're able to, put on a good put on good acting using your voice. Like I think Pedro Pascal is probably the best example of somebody who's good at both. He can pull off being a good voice actor, as we've seen in The Mandalorian, but he's also able to pull off being an actor. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to seeing how they make that work.
Frank Grillo of Captain America fame.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he sounded pretty good. He sounded, and I tried to picture him saying it, as him, and how he's going to be. I'm sure they're going to give him because he is going to be in the movies, right? That's
yes,
what we
he's
heard.
going to be in Superman and Peacemaker season 2. James Gunn has confirmed.
So they give him the hair. I'm sure, like he'll do a good job. When the bride talked, I totally pictured what's her name? I know it's not her. I think it's Emma Thompson. That's the kind of vibe I got from that voice. But I've seen the girl who says it, and I don't know what she has been in before, but she doesn't look like she would have that kind of voice.
She was in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, she was?
Mm-hmm.
Which one? I mean, what was she?
She played the Imperial who turned against the Empire.
Oh, her in the episode where they could have just walked around the gate, but they did murder instead.
Correct. That one, yes. But we do have a comment on YouTube. I don't have Disney Plus, but I have seen a number of clips from the show, and it looks incredible. There have been some good clips, yeah. I think it needs to build on some of the things it's done, but thank you, the Irish Potato. We do appreciate that. We are talking Creature Commandos now, so I hope you have Max and can watch it. Now, it's funny, too, because there was a ton of Easter eggs in the Creature Commandos, but it didn't seem as...
It didn't feel overwhelming.
Didn't
like,
seem
gratuitous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all agree on that.
I love that Cersei's followers were the sons of Themyscira.
Right. And they're just internet trolls.
Why does it gotta be women only? That's sexist, man. I was like, okay, I hope this doesn't do it too much, but I did get a chuckle out of that.
That's why I said, like, as I'm watching, I'm like, this feels a little like similar humor that you would see in the Harley Quinn show. Like, it felt almost like that. It was a little. It was very similar in a couple of parts, but a little less over the top in others. Where like they were able to maintain that balance of knowing that some of these characters are going to be in live action series, so they would ground it a bit while still having that sort of fantastical, nutsy element to it.
Yeah, I think James Gunn. This was kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy type of
it felt very much like
that type of character introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain spots where I think it got a little goofier than those shows.
Yeah.
Phosphorus was pretty goofy in my opinion, but it's gonna at the same time, it's got the serious elements like sex in the bathroom and stuff, and it's going to have. I trust James Gunn to make it have an overall tone of, hey, you're just getting to know these guys and they're kind of loose right now, but when they're put to the test, that's when we're gonna get serious.
So, okay, I've been kind of like holding this in. I didn't even bother to mention this on Slack because I could be way off base. So correct me if I'm wrong. Did it come off to you guys like the Rick Bob Flag character, Rick Bill Flag or whatever? Did he kind of come off as maybe like a self-insert? I'm older, but I want to bang the young girl kind of like. I mean, it felt weird. It felt wrong. I don't know. I get that she was pursuing him, I get that. But God, it just had so many creepy vibes to it to me. And I get they're both adults and it's a cartoon. It still kind of threw me for a loop.
See, I didn't get it like that at all. I felt like she was kind of pressuring him, and the family was like, you know what, fine. This could be, we may not live much longer. You know, obviously,
fair.
I was attacked by Dr. Phosphorus, and I have burns all
Also,
over my body.
Yeah,
And
about that. I don't think that's how radiation works.
it is
He
not.
should not be alive.
But once again,
Come on, he wore it up a bit.
yeah.
Dave, you're trying to kill me tonight. I swear to God.
They have been playing it off like he's like fire based. He has heat, and it's not really like radiation like
No.
that. And I did like the fact that Rick Flag was like, "Listen, I'm not into torturing you guys. I'm not going to hit this button just for my amusement or whatever. Just, you know, we're a team. Let's act like that." And
Which, by the way, when is it because this is? Why did they switch it to an electric shock collar instead of bombs?
I think because it's almost like, because they're monsters like animals, it's almost like the shock collars you get for dogs and stuff. Like they don't want to, they think they need to control them in the sense that you're not going to kill them if they do wrong, but you're going to hurt them really bad because they have
Okay.
to train them to get to that point. With the Suicide Squad, they were people, and they said, "Do what we said, or we're going to kill you."
Yeah.
And so it was a little easier.
Because, like, where are they going to find backup monsters? I mean, there can't be a lot of backup.
That's a good point.
People wait, or monsters waiting in line, you know what I mean?
Certainly not another Bride of Frankenstein.
Right. And how about that story? Huh? Frankenstein getting it on with his creation.
He's just like a jealous bro who was upset that his dad banged his girlfriend.
Oh, he strung him up and tore him to pieces. That's adorable!
Which mini theory potentially. Do you guys think that that's what they're going to be doing for the next couple of episodes, or maybe the entire series, where each one's going to be dedicated to the backstory of one of these characters?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I was getting to after seeing
Absolutely.
her backstory. Oh, well, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and James Gunn did confirm that episode 4 will be Weasel's backstory.
Oh dear God!
What?
Is it going to be how he murdered all the kids?
If they do, wow. That I do like, because they keep mentioning it. You know, like Rick Flag Sr. was like, yeah, he killed like a bunch of kids, but he seems harmless now or whatever. And he's like playing fetch.
And he's like drooling and his eyes are all crooked.
I'm like, dear God, that is.
Wait, you're a Nazi, ain't you? I'm going to have to kill you.
Oh my God, I love GI Robot. Oh, he's hilarious. Like you can tell the fish girl like kind of has a little crush on him, and he's like, I've always wanted a friend to kill Nazis with. She's like, oh yeah, all right.
He's just going to be this character that no matter who they're up against, like it could be Starro come back, and he'd be like,
Is
are
that
those
a Nazi?
Nazi starfish? They certainly are.
They sure are. I assume that's going to be like his attack command, like GI Robot, it's a Nazi, on my way.
But I think the next episode is his backstory. If I remember correctly, at the end of the second episode, they said on next week's episode, and you kind of see him throughout the years, kind of.
Yeah, I noticed
thing.
that.
So it'll be interesting to see how they play all that off. But yeah, I do think every episode up until probably the last two, or maybe just the last one, is we're going to do, because we need to find out more about these characters, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, like Dave, I trust James Gunn to kind of, you know, bring this all together and make everything good. But I don't think like these first two episodes were much different than things he's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't
wasn't
super
blown away at
impressed.
all. I liked it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it was fine. So you know how you said that you were looking at your phone a couple of times during Skeleton Crew? That was me during this. There was a couple of times where I was glancing at my phone and I'd look up and be like, "Oh, that's okay. That's nice. They're playing fetch with Weasel. Okay."
Yeah, you can still keep track of the show even though you look down at your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a couple times. I mean, what are you gonna do?
But again, like Skeleton Crew, I think this does have potential.
Yeah.
And I like Keith, I do trust James Gunn. Please don't make me lose faith in you, dude.
Yeah.
Well, and with something like this is like what I expected from James Gunn. And I found out there was an interview, I forget which channel, darn it, but he talked about this. And this was something that he had written prior to him taking over DC Studios with Peter
Oh,
Safran.
really?
I guess when he was working on the Suicide Squad, the head of animation said, "Do you want to do a show or whatever? You want to write an animated show?" He's like, "I never have, but I would love to." And so they decided on Creature Commandos. And I'm sure once he took over, it kind of switched up maybe a little bit, kind of where things were going. But it does. It just seems like a bunch of other James Gunn stories we have already seen. It has nothing groundbreaking yet. Nothing that really made me be like, yes, all right. Like, I loved the fact that he used Starro in the Suicide Squad. I never expected to see Starro in live action. I thought the way they handled that was really good. And I do like the fact that they're using Cersei here, who's typically a Wonder Woman villain. And obviously, with the Sons of Themyscira, you can see the ties to that. But the one scene that really kind of caught me was when she said, "You guys don't know what the future holds." And you see like Superman, Mr. Terrific, Starfire, and a couple others like strung up and looking like, the world is, pretty much destroyed. I didn't know if that was a hint at Darkseid or something else, but when they showed that, I was like, okay, are we getting a tease of, way down the line in the DCU, what's going to be coming? And is Cersei trying to protect Earth? Is she almost like, I don't want to say an anti-hero, but kind of along those lines where she's doing bad stuff, but she has good reasons to do so because she knows what's coming?
I could kind of see that. In other iterations of her, she is willing to kind of like give up when either like her goal is accomplished or if somebody bests her, and or like I think one of my favorite stories with her was from a Justice League episode, and she agrees to like call off her spell. She had turned Wonder Woman into a pig. She agrees to call off her spell if Batman sings for her, and he does, and she's like, okay. She's good on her word. And to me, she comes off as that kind of person who she's not outwardly like evil for evil's sake. Just from the little bit that I've seen her, I haven't read a lot of comics with her, so I don't know much about like her background as far as that. I've only ever seen her in like animated forms where like there's a Wonder Woman movie with her in it. There's a couple of Justice League episodes, and she's always come off as like she's got an agenda, but it's not like to take over the world and destroy it or anything like that.
Right, she's not a pure evil. And we did get a comment in a YouTube, Hunter Iggy, not your status quo, what's up? Not much, what's up with you? We're just talking a little Creature Commandos. We were talking Skeleton Crew earlier. If you've seen them, let us know what you think. We're kind of, if you haven't seen them, we are talking spoilers. So just let that be known.
Every time you say Cersei, though, I think Game of Thrones. Every time. Even though it's not Cersei, it's Cersei. Still.
And it does seem like they're setting her up to be the sort of main, antagonist for the show, which I'm kind of happy for. She's powerful enough, and even though it's funny, you kind of talked about the phosphorus Rick Flag fight, and that's not how radiation works. When she was fighting the bride, and like the bride who has super strength was just opening up on her. I'm like, okay, she doesn't have super strength or anything else. Maybe she's using some magic to protect her, but if the bride was unleashing on her like that, she probably would be dead.
Well, I feel like she must use magic to protect herself because otherwise Wonder Woman would have like snapped her neck years ago.
Yeah, she's got those inflatable. The
waving inflatable man arms. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
that was giving me some Thanos vibes.
Yes, the reality stone, 100%.
Yeah, right.
But then
Hopefully
what-
that wears off though.
Is that fish girl? What's her name? I
Nina.
don't even know her name. Is she dead now? I mean,
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Because she
I
was
thought
in
that was
that.
kind of like, how can they do that soon type of thing?
Yeah.
She was
No,
kind
we'll
of
probably
breathing
find out in the
a
next
puddle.
episode that they'll figure out a way to like put an aquarium tank over her head or something.
Or just put her in a bathtub. She was
Yeah, there
in a
you go.
bathtub earlier. But yeah, I did
Yeah.
like after like 2 episodes of her kind of following the bride around and kind of being, oh well, what are you doing? And like almost kind of wanting to be her friend a little bit and kind of understand her a little bit. When at the end, when they're both kind of laying, flat down, they're obviously going to be captured by the sons of Themyscira. She's like, "F you."
Yeah, right.
I was like, okay, that was. I get that. I could see where that's coming from.
And you know who else got it? The bride. She got it. She turned into this big smile. So she knew.
But, and I want to know if there's any sort of significance to that necklace outside. Like, I'm almost like, is that some like artifact from the DC universe? I don't know. I couldn't find anything.
It would be funny if it like had some sort of mystical power that could deflect Cersei's magic or something.
Yep. Stand up to
Well,
her by
she
using.
definitely wasn't wearing it for the Al Harrington part.
Yeah. The only thing that that was said about it was that he had found it on a cadaver. So who knows where it came from, what its properties are, if it's magic, is it just a piece of costume jewelry?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So hopefully we'll find out something more about that down the line. We do only have 5 episodes left of this, which, I mean, I think we've gotten pretty good into the story. Obviously, for whatever reason, she wants to take over this land, and just happens to be where, the bride was created by Frankenstein, and, where, what were they calling him? Eric? Were they calling the
Yes.
I was like,
Eric Frankenstein.
I was like, is that something I should know? Or they just kind of
I don't
said that
think-
for this show?
I don't think he ever had a name in like the original book. He was just called the Monster. Eric.
I was like,
Whatever.
Are they calling him Eric because of Magneto? Why are they calling him Eric?
I wonder if that's like from the comics.
Yeah, not that I saw, but I did like David Harbour voicing it. I thought he did a really good job. I wasn't so enamored with him being this sort of lovestick monster and chasing the bride throughout history and stuff. But I thought David Harbour did a good job voicing him. Just like, I think all of the voice actors in this did a really good job. I think Dave was talking earlier, like hearing Frank Grillo talk as, Rick Flag Sr. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, did you
You
find
really
something?
picture him saying that?
Yes,
stuff.
I did. So that is his name in DC. Eric Frankenstein. He's the first creation of mad scientist Victor Frankenstein and a zombified member of the Creature Commandos. So that is going back to the comics. But Netflix apparently also likes it, and they have some show apparently called Good Day Sunshine, and they also named their version of Frankenstein Eric.
All right.
Okay. Does it tie in?
I doubt it, but it is interesting that it's, it's more than once.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
good
all
to
right.
know.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, after we've seen, obviously, we saw Superman, we saw Mr. Terrific, we saw Starfire, which, outside of Starfire, the other 2 actors have been, cast already. We know who's playing Superman and Mr. Terrific in the DCU. We don't know anything about Starfire, which makes me think he has plans for Teen Titans at some point. And maybe the reason...
Oh, like maybe do it right?
The fact that he always says, nothing's being greenlit until we have a script and are ready to go. He's like, I don't want anything to go into production that, is constantly being rewritten at the time. Because he's very, he's talked about how every scene he does for every movie, he has storyboards for. He knows how he wants it to go. He understands that. I don't think he'll expect that of every person who, writes and films for DC, but I think he does want, something out there. And he did say, in that interview yesterday, he said, something got greenlit last week that I can't talk about yet.
Huh.
And when he said that, I'm like, could this be a Teen Titans, thing? Because seeing Starfire in that scene, I was like, all right, I think we might be getting, because it was never announced when he did his, initial Gods and Monsters, DCU Chapter 1 thing. So maybe we're going to hear something about Teen Titans here coming up.
Well, as we've already discussed, that seems to be what James Gunn's wheelhouse is these like sort of team up things. People who don't initially get along with each other, and that's, just like with Guardians of the Galaxy, the Suicide Squad, and Creature Commandos, it fits with Teen Titans too. So, yeah, I could definitely see him tackling that as well. But if he does, do you think that would also be animated?
Maybe. It's funny because we'll go into tangent time here for a minute because, he had talked about the Authority, and we know that one member of the Authority is going to be in the Superman movie.
Mm-hmm.
There was talk that there was going to be an Authority movie. And there's been rumors lately that it's turned to an animated project.
Okay.
And they said the reason it's going to be animated is because WB is a little low on funds. And they don't do it. So I wonder if it is possible. Right now what we know we have in the DCU, we have Creature Commandos, Superman, both. Obviously Creature Commandos is released now. Superman is done filming. And they're doing the editing process. Hopefully we get a trailer, in the next few months. Peacemaker Season 2 has been filmed. Obviously, it's coming out after Superman, the editing process, all that has to go on. And then Supergirl and Lanterns. Neither one of which filmed yet, but we know the casting and everything else. So maybe they are looking at, kicking off something else like Teen Titans, where they've had a big following in animation. And they think, hey, this might be a good idea to make this an animated project. Bring the fans in, and then hopefully get the coffers filled a little bit with some quality projects, and then they can bring it into live action. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Seems up his alley is Doom Patrol.
Yes,
cool.
I could see him, but I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't want to see that redone. I think it was fine the way it was, and it'd be
Not redone, but brought in.
Oh, you mean as it was? Oh, sure. I could see that. Make them canon. Absolutely. That would fit within James Gunn's DC world. I could totally see that.
And the fact that his rule is if it's mentioned in the DCU, it's canon. So I don't think there was anything that happened throughout all of the seasons of Doom Patrol which could make it be non-canon. Because
the only thing that would even come close is Cyborg, losing his cyborgness.
True. So yeah, maybe certain aspects of Doom Patrol could be brought in, but I would be fine with them bringing these, Doom Patrol into the DCU. I like the Doom Patrol. It's, they do the silliness, but I wonder if James Gunn is like, I can't do too much of these outside characters. Like he did Creature Commandos, and now, he's obviously got a Superman movie, Peacemaker Season 2. We got Lanterns, which, that's definitely, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are definitely not, sort of misfitty characters.
No.
They're more along the lines of, the sort of godlike DC Comics aspect. So I'm hoping that all of this is good, and I hope that as much as I am enjoying Creature Commandos, once again I'm very negative tonight. I don't know if it's Friday or what's going on, but I've been dwelling on the negatives on these shows.
The snow.
It's the cold. You're right.
We had higher expectations, I think.
Yeah,
they aren't meeting them yet.
Yeah, I don't like to do that because it's not fair to the show. But I do it sometimes, and it's because it's James Gunn.
Yeah.
Well, so and it's this misfit team, which he has written so well over 3 Guardian movies, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker Season 1 was phenomenal. And
Yeah.
I did. I was hyped for this. I'm like, man, we are in for an absolute treat. And it was
Does
good.
that count?
Yes.
But somebody absolutely that.
I said
You said
absolute.
absolute treat.
Yeah. But it does. Much like Skeleton Crew, it does feel like it could be building something that is extremely entertaining.
Like,
But
it could be better. Like, oh my god, I feel like, keep thinking of Pedro Pascal's character from Wonder Woman 84. It's good, but it could be better.
You always got to bring us back to Wonder Woman 84.
I'm sorry, it's just... This weird, your silver lining fell off and this negative cloud is encapsulating all of us.
I know. God, we need to say something nice. What is something? What is the most?
Well, this show,
yeah,
it's a good show.
No, it is. In between the two, I do think this has been a better show than Skeleton Crew so far. You know, there's things I kind of disagree with a little bit, but it's still been entertaining. Like I did not look at my phone once during Creature Commandos. I did during Skeleton Crew.
I did during both. I gotta say it.
Yeah, these episodes were fine for me. They were okay.
Yeah.
Nothing super. I think I liked the second episode of Creature Commandos more than the first. I laughed more at the second episode. Some of the jokes in the first episode, I was like, all right, it's fine.
Yeah, the second episode we did get that wonderful GI robot scene with Nina. You know, we did have the interaction. Just how annoyed the bride was with Nina when they were going around and like, why are you coming with me? Stop.
Right.
Stop being such a square. Yeah.
And Eric being like a needy, whiny, like, when's my girlfriend gonna be ready? Like, that's not how I imagine Frankenstein to be.
I
chuckle.
I expected him to be like a dumb monster.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he was going to be like the brute, the tank, if you want to use, video game descriptions, just be like, tank, go destroy him.
Instead, he's like
no
a bro
fire.
hanging out on a tank,
Yeah.
or I'm bro hanging out on a yacht.
He was like a cross between Clayface and Bane from the Harley Quinn show.
yeah,
A
kind
little
of.
bit. I do think
Not quite
James-
as funny as either of them.
No, God,
No.
I do think
Definitely
he
not.
took a little inspiration from those shows to kind of write.
Yeah,
these
I
characters
did,
a little bit.
especially with the Themyscira men or whatever they were
Sons
called.
of Themyscira.
Yeah, the Sons of Themyscira. That felt like a joke ripped right out of Harley Quinn.
I did enjoy seeing them being utterly destroyed by the bride
Right? Yeah.
because I was happy Circe showed up at the end of that episode to kind of capture them. Because if it would have just been the sons, I would have been like, "Oh
she
my
must
God."
know. She must know how like incompetent they are.
Yeah, she definitely does, and that's why she knew she had to do it herself. But we do got them, captured now, and it does look like, obviously, with the scenes from the next episode, they're going to go, attempt to save them and do some, whatever things. So,
Are they going to break out and they're going to find her outside the building when they're trying to break into the building to save her?
I hope not.
like the Suicide Squad.
Yep, exactly.
If they do that, my rating is going to go down. Darn it! You listen to me, James. You better not repeat. And that was, it was funny because I didn't have any worries. Like hearing about this, I was like, hype level was pretty high because I'm like, all right, this is what he does best, and it didn't blow me away
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
same.
of the fact it felt like other projects he's done, and
Yeah.
I'm almost
Seriously, I saw the when I first heard about it, I wasn't super hyped for it. I was like, but it's mostly because I was kind of turned off by DC's more recent animated features, and I was like, okay, whatever. But when I saw the trailer, when we did, when you showed us the trailer during one of our streams, I was getting a bit more excited. My hype level went up. I'm like, oh, that looks good. It looks like they actually put some effort into it. Oh, okay, James Gunn. All right, I'm gonna enjoy this, and my hype level increased by quite a bit. and I was really looking forward to it. But yeah, you're right. It for me the same. Just didn't quite match what I thought it was going to be. I assumed it would be better.
And unfairly, I thought it was going to be great. And while it's good, it definitely did not live up to my hype level. Now, once again, room to grow. I hope it gets better from here. He's put his pieces in place, so now we have to see how it plays out. But I really hope it doesn't feel just like another version of the Suicide Squad or Guardians of the Galaxy. This almost makes me more hyped for Superman, in the sense that get out of your comfort area and do something like this. So,
speaking of Superman, how'd you like the new opening that they've got for the show?
I liked it.
I did too. The old school Superman breaking out of the chair. I like that. That was nice. Yeah. I was like, I like this. Okay.
There was a Threads comment. Somebody had said they didn't like the new Superman logo that they're using, which I do like. And,
I like it.
Someone commented, "Why don't you go back to the original one? It's so much better." And like James Gunn posted like the Superman emblem from like the 1930s or whatever. He goes, "I don't know if we should really use this one." Yeah, it looked terrible. And the guy was probably like, "That isn't what I meant."
That's not what I meant. Big jerk.
Why are you picking on me, James? But I mean, I think that we were supposed to find something positive. What did I? I think the characters like G.I. Robot, Nina the Bride, they're all of the voice acting is tremendous in Creature Commandos. I thought the score, man, I don't think James Gunn can go wrong with picking out music for episodes like this. It really
Oh my God, those songs were just like, where did he find that? That's so hilarious.
It's got Warner, man. Warner Music.
Yep. So it does have a lot of things going its way.
Yeah.
Much like Lenny Kravitz. Is it going to go his way? So I felt we needed a deep musical cut. I don't know how deep that is, but you know, should we rate these episodes now? They're really, you know.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Dave, you gonna kick it off?
And the thing is that, you know, like you guys have been saying, just because it was James Gunn and this is the first step into the DCU, the first official step, we've got some things that are already canon, but the first official foray into that in the DCU, and I was expecting more. I was expecting it to knock me out of my socks, you know what I mean? Just like right in your face right away. And the show still might do that. But if it is, it's kind of doing it in a slow burn type of way. Maybe it's setting up a bunch of stuff that's going to come together at the end, which I wouldn't be surprised by because he's very good at that.
Yeah.
So, but much like the other show, I can't give it a 7 yet. I can't do it. And so I'm going to rate it the same as I rated the other one because I did have some phone moments. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
So, I don't know if I liked this series as much as you gentlemen did. I think I might end up rating it a bit lower, and maybe I'm off base on this one, but one of the things that kind of bothered me about it from the get-go was the fact that the plot, and I know that this is, you know, they're just using it as a reason to get the characters from one place to another, and I probably shouldn't be looking that deep into it, but the plot structure, the story that they're going with in order to warrant the need for the Creature Commandos is the fact that there is an issue with a friendly nation, and, you know, Amanda Waller goes on, well, honestly, we just want their oil. You know, there's an issue with somebody trying to take over the throne. What does that sound like? The Suicide Squad. And then, we've got to fight against like a magical witch. What does that sound like? Suicide Squad. And I remember the biggest issue that I had with the original Suicide Squad is the fact that it didn't make sense for them to bring in the Suicide Squad for that mission. Specifically, Amanda Waller had stated at the outset that they existed to take out any threats from like if the Justice League went rogue or to do like missions that they couldn't handle. But the fact that they had released this like evil sorceress onto the world, that I feel like in the world of DC, that's now okay, now you call Superman, you call the Justice League for an issue like that. You don't rely on Harley Quinn and her hammer to go up against a witch. So this felt very similar to that, where they were kind of pulling together the same sort of storylines that we've seen before. And so I wasn't impressed by that, and I was like, oh, all right. It's like you didn't put any effort into that. Okay, fine, whatever. And then we move on to introducing us to the cast of characters, and I like the way that they did it. They were real quick about it. They did it very similar to the way they did the Suicide Squad. Got through it pretty quick, so that was smart. And then now we're going to take each one of these, upcoming episodes to go deeper into their backstory, tell us who they are. So, inevitably, when one of them has to be sacrificed, we'll feel more more sorrow for them. But yeah, I'd say other than some of the humor in the second episode and the music choices, I really wasn't super impressed by either of these episodes. They didn't really do much for me. The story wasn't anything new. Like you guys both said, it felt very much like just James Gunn's, sort of comfort zone. He's just doing more of what he's good at, and he is good at it for the most part, but this didn't feel like it was trying to accomplish anything other than it just existed. It was fine. It wasn't terrible, but I also didn't care for it that much. Like I said, I think the second episode was better than the first, and I guess that is also kind of how I felt about Harley Quinn and Kite Man. Didn't like their first episode, so maybe that's just what they do with these animated shows. I don't know. I'm gonna have to give this a 5.5. It was a little bit better than average to me, but not great. I expected better. I think that it has potential to be better, but right now it's just not hitting it for me.
See, and much like Doug, the parallels to like the Suicide Squad really, I think, bogged this down a little bit to start. The fact that, hey, you got to go into this friendly nation, and then even, how they introduced the members, how, this is the bride, and it felt very similar. Now,
Yeah.
unlike the Suicide Squad, I do like they went to that foreign nation not knowing they had Starro captured there, and it turned into something that was more of a Justice League thing.
Yeah.
Happened. This, they knew this powerful sorceress was there. So you're right.
Exactly.
Much like the original Suicide Squad, why would these 5 people be sent there? They almost seem like they lack enough power outside of Dr. Phosphorus, but then you're just going to burn most of the country down. It seemed a little bit off with that. But that being said, I do like the writing, just the conversation between some of the characters have been really well. All of the voice acting has been incredible. The songs have been good, and I do think the second episode started seeing it, set a pace, and I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to keep getting better. I think as we get the backstory for these characters and we build the story where it's going to separate itself from the Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxies, and the other things he's written. But these first 2 episodes just felt similar. It felt, almost nostalgic for things he's done in the past. But I still enjoyed them. I still think they're good. And the fact that I think they're good, I'm going to give these a 7.1. Wasn't great, wasn't excellent, wasn't masterpiece, but they were good. And I could watch these again, and I think I will before episode 3 comes out next week, just to, watch it again, because I'm not all that familiar. A lot of the times these shows come out, I'm pretty familiar with the, comic backstory on a lot of these. And I didn't know these guys. The only character
You
I
didn't
had
know
really,
Eric Frankenstein?
exactly. I didn't even know they called him that in DC Comics. Obviously knew Circe from the comics a little bit and the Justice League show.
Mm-hmm.
And Game of Thrones.
And Game of Thrones, yes, thank you. But outside of that, I haven't read a lot of Bride comics, Dr. Phosphorus, GI Robot. I knew Weasel from the Suicide Squad, and I don't think I've ever read anything with Nina Mazursky.
No, me either.
So, I'm hoping it keeps building. These episodes were good, but I expected more. And I think my disappointment is I really expected this to be, mid-eights or something with who was writing it and what he was writing. So, overall, we got 2 shows. Neither one was bad, but neither one was great either. But
we had higher expectations for both of them.
We just came off a real big high though with the Penguin, so
yeah, that's probably part of the problem. They really spoiled us with that one.
And even the anime
Max.
we were watching was even the anime we were watching was really good. So
yeah,
oh yeah, that too.
So
yeah, it is kind of hard coming off of like good material and expecting the next thing we're gonna watch. This is gonna be amazing. I can already see it, and the trailers look fantastic for both of them. I was impressed by both trailers. So, yeah, I think I think they both have potential. I think they're both gonna get better. Fingers crossed.
Yep, I'm right with you. I think they've laid down some groundwork that if they build on correctly, they'll be good shows, possibly great shows.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's just hope they do. Well, should we find somebody to raid, you fine gentlemen? Not raid.
I think we should.
Not raid, you fine gentlemen, but should we find someone to raid? Comma, you fine gentlemen, yes.
Yes, we should, as that is a thing that we do on Twitch. We like to find somebody that, another Twitch streamer that's doing a thing that we're like, hey, you're a cool dude or dudette. We want to bring all 3 of our Twitch streamers into your thing. What about, let's see, we've got Laura Loopsy, she's on. We haven't seen her in a while. Tiny Valkyr is on.
Pharaoh Hero is on.
Oh yeah, I was in his channel earlier before we started streaming.
I was too.
And oh really?
Yeah, he was playing Psylocke on Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't hear him responding though, so I don't know if it's. I know that sometimes he has a friend play on his channel, so I don't know if it was him tonight or what.
Oh, I wondered why, because I kind of commented, and I didn't know if he was just into the game and wasn't paying attention to his things. Well, there's a couple of people, Marvel Rivals dropped today, so I wonder.
Oh, is that why? Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Lara Loopsy playing Raft, Pharaoh Hero playing Marvel Rivals, Flake of Wrath playing the OG Fortnite, Tiny Valkyrie playing Lego Star Wars, Spice of Life playing Path of Exile 2, which also I think it's not out yet, but the early drops did. Graduating playing Marvel Rivals, Kernobi playing Ranch Simulator, Minion 777 playing Path of Exile, Macaw 45 playing Extensive DOS Shareware.
No thanks.
Yeah, no.
that sounds fun.
You and I have different ideas of fun.
I don't remember who Graduating is.
It was one of Sierra's buddies.
Huh. Wanna raid them then?
Yeah, they're playing Marvel Rivals, and it's a new.
As long as they're not X-rated, like your last choice.
What was that? What were they? Oh, they just filed. It was It was Black Hole, but the first B is a 3, and the E at the end is a 3.
Oh yeah.
Just not child friendly. That's all.
It's funny because most of these say, "Hey, they're not child friendly," and then they're nothing bad. But that one was, that was a little different. Not bad, not bad. Not saying anything's bad, but we're definitely. We encountered an error while creating the raid.
Uh-oh.
Did you spell the name wrong?
Spell wrong.
Probably did.
I mean, this is Keith.
Again, for those that didn't hear us before, if you are on YouTube and watching us, this is a thing that we do over on Twitch, where we find a fellow streamer and we move all of our viewers into their channel, kind of keep the party going, so to speak. Unfortunately, YouTube does not have a feature like that, at least yet. Who knows? They seem to be trying to compete with Twitch, so maybe one day they'll have a similar sort of raid feature. But at the moment, we will ask of you, if you enjoyed watching our stream, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, all the other good YouTube stuff, and we definitely want to see you back. The next video that you're going to see come up on our channel is not going to be a stream. Next video is going to be a at the theater review for the much anticipated Raven the Hunter.
Good boy.
Ah. So look forward to seeing that pop up on YouTube, and then we will be back to streaming. What did we say? Sunday or Monday?
I think Monday. We'll talk about that after this. But yeah, we'll be back streaming.
Well, we'll let you know.
Yeah. Check our socials. We'll get you there. But yep, we're out. Yeah. We'll see you guys soon. If you're on Twitch, we're going to be rating Graduating, playing Marvel Rivals. And YouTube, thanks a lot.
Hey, fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.